What's up, guys? It's three-time NFL Pro Bowler, all-decade return specialist Josh Cribbs, Cleveland legend. If you want the best Browns content on YouTube, I'm told subscribe to DF Sports. Listen, you gotta find out for yourself, but I was told, heard it to the grapevine. DF Sports is the way to go. All right, y'all go check it out. Go Dogs! Hoo hoo hoo!
You heard the man. If you want some of the best Browns content on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Dawg Pound Pod. As always, joining me today is my co-host, Cam. Say what's up.
Yo. What's up, man?
What's going on? It's been a while since we've done one of these.
Oh, my God. It's been a minute. Feels good to be back, though.
Yeah, so just for anybody who was wondering, because I know I did have somebody ask me, if we were still doing it. Yes, we're still doing it. Because it's the off season, it's like, I don't know what I say, once every other week.
Yeah.
And then I'm having guests on periodically. So if you see like, hey, there's another episode out, that doesn't mean like it's the usual, like what we do here between me and Cam. This is like the standard version, I guess you could say, of the Dawg Pound Pod. If I do a guest, it's basically just like an interview. And I've had guys I've talked to as far as guests coming on, and thank you to everybody else who has been on, as far as a I don't know what you would call it, basically like a side interview, maybe. I don't know. So thank you to T-Bone for coming on. I doubt he's watching this, but enjoyed talking with him. I've gotten the chance to actually meet him and talk with him a few times. He's a great dude. So yeah, and I tell you what, I guess I can announce it because he confirmed. I'm having Mike from Brownie Post Game, the guy who runs that channel, gonna have him on for a interview at some point. Hoping to have Suryat on again. I know it's a controversial thing to do, but he's a Browns fan too, and that's what we do here. We talk about the Browns. So at the end of the day, we're all fans. But yeah, as far as the podcast, this is the Dawg Pound Pod. This is what we are going to do.
Sir.
So anyway, it's been, like I said, it's been a while since we've done this. Basically, the last episode we have recorded of this was kind of right before JJ Watch started. And since then, it's been just a lot of crazy things, a lot of different reports. Just give me your thoughts, because I know we've talked a little bit over, just texting and whatnot, but I don't think we've said anything on here. What do you think about the possibility of getting JJ? Do you want him? What's your thoughts on that?
No doubt I want him, and I really want him badly. Bad. And I think, we can add JJ Watt. That would be great. And maybe bring some more pieces in through free agency or through the draft. That's what I'm. But then again, one thing that I'm really scared of is I don't want it to be like the Clowney situation. You know how we just waited, thinking he's coming to us. Then I don't want it to be like that.
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement. I think that should we add JJ Watt if we can? Absolutely. And I know there's a select group of people out there who disagree and say, well, why would you? I mean, he's not the JJ Watt of the past. Well, yeah, I mean, he is getting older, and yeah, he's had a couple injuries, but I mean, last season he was the most double teamed edge rusher in the NFL. He still had a solid year, and he played every game. Or at least that's, if I'm correct on that. He might have missed a game or whatever, but he played most of the games. So, everybody talks about, well, injuries. Yeah, he's got an injury history. But the fact that he played most, if not every game last year on
It's
a
incredible.
losing team, by the way, a 4-win team. It'd be easy for him to say, oh, man, my leg hurts. I'm going to sit out, but he played. So
Yep.
I think that I wouldn't hold that against him. I mean, it's kind of like Vernon, where it's like, yeah, Vernon, he had some great years. You knew the injury history was there. I don't think it's the same with Watt, but I think you got to kind of look at it as, even if we do sign JJ Watt, I think that doesn't mean you cross off edge rusher and say, all right, we're done. I'd
Definitely.
still look to add guys, whether it be draft or
Definitely.
other free agency, and we'll talk about that. But I want to hit at the point that you just said about Jadeveon Clowney last year. And the report is now coming out, and it's kind of been debunked on the Pat McAfee show today. Allegedly, he texted back and forth with JJ, and I guess the report that teams are offering 15 to 16 million is not legit. Um, so my guess is that report is coming from a team trying to either up the price. For instance, maybe the Steelers. I'm not saying this is what happened, but I'm just saying as an example. Maybe the Steelers say, "Oh man, the Browns could sign JJ. Let's put out a report that, or let's leak this out that he's asking for this high number, so that tries to
Yep.
deter him."
Definitely.
So, but yeah, as far as what you said about Jadeveon Clowney, that whole situation, Clowney didn't want to come to Cleveland, and I think JJ will. I think JJ is completely fine with that. What do you think about that? You think he likes Cleveland or would be open to it?
I think it I think he's kind of starting to see like, yeah, this might not be a bad place. I mean, of course you can look at all the number of years, people Cleveland, well, why would I want to go there? But I mean, we're a place that people, might not turn their head quick on us now. I mean, I think he likes it here. I mean, I think it would be a good fit.
Yeah, and people, what do we talk about here in Cleveland? It's about, the blue collar worker. You're tough. You come through the cold, as the whole country has this past like 2 weeks. Um, but you get what I'm saying. And JJ grew up in Wisconsin, and that is, I mean, I don't want to say it's the exact same because obviously every city's different, but some of the values, I guess you could say, from a person who lives in Ohio and lives in Cleveland and, the northern cities, I guess you could say, um, have those values and or those characteristics. JJ has that living in Wisconsin. He's a guy who's tough. He's going to come to work. He's done tremendous things for Houston, and obviously they're always going to love him down there, but I just see him moving on. I don't believe Tennessee is as legitimate of a place. I don't know what you think about that, but I really think it's down to Cleveland, Buffalo, and Green Bay. I believe that because you
Sounds
look,
about right. Sounds about right.
you look at contenders, you look at what he would like, you know what I mean? That being familiar. Um, so yeah, I mean, yeah. So let me know what you think about that as far as that whole thing goes.
Well, I really, when I heard Tennessee, I was kind of like, really? But to me, I don't know if you think this, but I don't think Tennessee. From what I saw from Tennessee this year, I don't think Tennessee's gonna be that Tennessee that we saw um in the playoffs a couple years ago. I think they're gonna take a step back and kind of rebuild a little. And I just can't see Watt going to Tennessee. I mean, I I think the Browns are in a better situation than Tennessee. That's why I'm just having trouble picturing him in a Tennessee uniform. But I do see him. I see those three teams that you just named in the running as well.
And there was also the report out of Green Bay. I'm sorry, I don't have his name, but he basically said he does not see the Packers being in the running because they have money problems. And the Green Bay Packers released a guy that we know very well, Christian Kirksey.
Yes.
They seem to be a team who's going to still compete because I think as long as they have Rodgers, they're going to compete.
Definitely.
But I really don't think they're in a position to sign him. I think it's probably down to Cleveland and Buffalo, two teams that I think are in very similar situations, good young quarterbacks. The Buffalo defense is at a better spot right now, but I think the Cleveland offense is at a better spot than Buffalo. So I think if you're JJ, it's do you want to go join a team that has some promising pieces on defense and they're going to continue to rebuild the defense in the offseason and have the offense kind of be the structure? Or are you going to want to go to a city or a team like Buffalo and have a defense that you can go into and you're not going to be looked at as kind of like the key guy? Like they have good players around, would be around him. I think that's really to
Yeah,
me.
without a doubt.
Yeah, I think that's what it's down to.
Yeah.
But
Really, I just don't the whole Pittsburgh thing, I just couldn't really see it.
I see no, I think it's more likely for the Browns to get JJ Watt on a really cheap deal than it is for the Steelers to sign him. And I don't think anybody's going to get JJ on a cheap deal. Pittsburgh, there's so much, and I guess we can just go straight into this. There's so much craziness going on with Pittsburgh right now. You have contracts getting renegotiated. You have the whole quarterback situation. They announced that Big Ben, I guess, will be their starting quarterback next year. I don't know why JJ would want to go there other than his brothers. He's not going to get paid. They're not a team, they had success, but they lost the last 4 out of 5 games.
Yep.
So it went downhill quick. I don't see Pittsburgh as a destination for him. So what do you think about Ben coming back? Do you think they should? I mean, it's just a weird situation. What
I
do you think about that?
it's it's just wow. I'm just like, wow, Ben's really coming back. I mean, I really think this will be his last year, to be honest. I mean, I know we said it all last year, but I don't think Pittsburgh's gonna regress like badly, worse than we seen last year. I think it's gonna be a house fire this year with Pittsburgh. They keep allowing Ben to play.
Do you think Ben's going to be the starting quarterback all season?
I feel like they'll start him off for the season, but I feel like if he struggles, I don't think they're gonna hesitate not to pull him.
I don't either. I mean, I think
'Cause, I mean,
that
if you look at it,
yeah,
and I know Clevelanders and people don't like this guy, but Mason Rudolph actually looked pretty decent in the last game of the season against the Browns.
when don't forget about Dwayne Haskins.
Totally forgot about Dwayne Haskins as well.
Yeah, I think what's going to happen is I think what's going to happen is the Steelers are going to sell themselves that Ben Roethlisberger can be Ben as they know him, and I don't think he's that anymore. I think this is a big, big mistake, having him come back for many reasons. It's kind of like you see these quarterbacks at the very end of their careers. And it's not even comparable, but you've seen how quickly Drew Brees went downhill. I
Yeah,
think
definitely.
I think that's the season Ben's looking at this year. I think he's going to be very, very bad. And
And you
that
gotta look at that offensive line.
yeah, and Pouncey retiring. That's going to be a big
That's a
deal.
big loss.
And that could mean that the Steelers are going to have to use their first-round pick instead of getting, let's just say, like a guy like a Mac.
Travis Etienne.
Yeah,
They need a running back.
Or if a guy like a Mac Jones happens to fall to them.
Definitely.
I mean, they could have been in a position to where they could say, okay, let's take this guy. We can slowly incorporate him into this, the starting role. No, now you're in a position where it's like you got guys retiring. You're going to lose Bud Dupree. Who knows what's going to happen with Juju? They're in a bad situation. Very bad situation.
Yeah. A lot of question marks over the Pittsburgh Steelers organization.
So yeah, I don't see JJ even being considered there at all.
I couldn't picture it either.
Yeah, so this has been talking about the whole contract situation. The one thing that's kind of been in the news everywhere this week, in various sports media places, your FS1s and your ESPN, this Baker Mayfield contract situation. You have Colin Cowherd, and I even hate talking about him because this is what he wants. This is what his show is. It's say stupid stuff so people like me and you talk about him and give him attention. But the only reason I'm going to say it is because you have other people saying it too, and that is Baker a guy who is replaceable, and should the Browns sign him? No, I don't think he's replaceable. I think this offense is built around him. I think this coaching staff was built around him, and yes, he's going to be the Browns starting quarterback, like it or not. I don't care how much you hate the guy. That's just what it is. He's going to be the starter.
It is, man.
But this question of should the Browns pay him this offseason, what do you think about that?
In my opinion, I think we should wait, let the season play out. Because we don't want to, how people, so people could get a contract and, they might not show up on the field. I've seen it happen before, man. You get that max deal, and they don't really show up all like that.
So you're wanting us to essentially give it another year, and then from there see where we're at.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah, I agree. I do. And here's the thing. You look at, okay, if the Browns signed him to a long deal this offseason, the pros to that, you're probably going to get him cheaper, number one.
True that.
Because I think he's going to have a great year, and that's just going to up the cost. So you're probably going to get him cheaper if you sign him now. And that obviously helps with the other guys. But I think it's smarter for the Browns to let the season play out, 16, 17 games, playoffs, see where we're at. If Baker stays this version of Baker and he doesn't regress like in year 2, which I don't think he is, and I honestly, I don't think many Browns fans think he will, then I think you're going to feel good about signing him because, if you jump the gun on these quarterbacks, you have your Jared Goff, Carson Wentz situation. I think another thing people are not talking about with this thing about Baker's contract, I don't think he's desperate for money. People joke about the commercials, but the reality is he's getting paid, I'm sure, pretty decent money off of that.
Definitely.
So it's not like he's knocking on the door begging for a contract right now. So I think the smart thing to do would be give it another year. Well, first of all, figure out the OBJ thing. Is OBJ actually the problem with Baker? Figure out that question. We debate it.
And to be honest, we really don't know. We really don't know because Odell really didn't play a lot last year. So this year will probably be a test about that too.
No, and last year when they did play together every game, it was not good. And when they played together this year, it was not good for the most part. So they got to figure that out. And if they figure that out, then they can determine if Baker's the quarterback. And
Definitely.
I think, when you look at the contract, I really don't know. Baker to me does not seem like a guy who it has to be the highest paid quarterback. Do you get that vibe from him?
Yeah, I definitely get what you're saying.
And what I just said, with the progressive money
Baker's not your MVP caliber quarterback.
from the money standpoint is what you're saying.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, and I think he strikes me as a guy because people talk about how cocky and arrogant some people see him as. I see him as a guy who has had to earn everything, walk on one place, you get hurt, and then you have to rebuild yourself back up, and then you walk on at a bigger school and you win the freaking Heisman, and then you become the number one pick. He's never been given anything, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he doesn't strike me as a guy who sits down with Andrew Berry and says, listen, I want this number and I want this and this and this for this many years, this guaranteed, or I'm not playing. He's just not. I don't see him as that guy. I see him as, okay, let's see where we're at. All right, that length of that long. All right, that works. Okay, let's work on the money. Yeah, that's good enough for me. That's the kind of guy he strikes me as. I don't see him being a demanding, I must get this number. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. So I guess do you think we're gonna wait? Like if you had a prediction, not what you would do, do you think we're gonna wait?
I think I really it's really it's really 50-50 with me. It's kind of like, you really don't know what to expect, to be honest, but I think I think we'll wait.
Yeah, I
That's what
think we will too.
I think we'll wait.
So
So
did you
yeah.
did you see this Marshawn Lattimore stuff?
Yeah, I've seen the tweets and stuff.
What do you think there's anything to that?
Not really. I don't think so.
Because it seemed like I heard some people, obviously Saints fans, were ticked because, I mean, that first tweet, saying I'm trying to put Cleveland on the map, stay out of my way. That can get taken many different ways. So, I get it why Saints fans were mad and all.
You see, so you gotta look at it. I mean, Cleveland's a small town. I mean, not a lot of people make it out of Cleveland, man. So I mean, So I mean, shout out to shout out to Marshawn Lattimore for trying to rep his city, man.
Yeah, and he is set to become a free agent. The Saints don't have the money to sign him. He very well could be playing in a new uniform next year. Will the Browns pursue him? Yeah, if he's available, I think they're certainly gonna, see. But I don't I don't know how it happens because we talk about paying all these guys. If you're gonna get Marshawn Lattimore, you are gonna have to pay big time.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
So I really don't see that either. But the idea of it's a great idea. If you had Denzel Ward and Marshawn Lattimore, that would just be ridiculous. But who knows? We said that about OBJ. There's no way.
Yeah,
So
happened.
it's out of our hands. But so yeah, thinking about this, the NFL Combine would have been going on right now, and it sucks. But
Yeah, very.
um,
Be
you look
glued
at
to ESPN, man.
yeah, yeah. Well, now it's everybody's releasing their mocks, but um,
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've been checking out the OBR has been putting out like hour-long videos on each draft position for defense. What do you think? What is like the most like list the positions in order from most to least that we should prioritize this offseason? Like, do you think like line is more important, like the D line, or like just give me your like top to bottom?
I would say linebacker, corner, then D line.
Yeah,
And I've been hearing people saying maybe safety a little, but I feel like we could probably sign one in free agency, then wasting a draft pick on.
Yeah, I think you're gonna see the Browns make a Austin Hooper type move, but on defense. Because when we got Hooper, it was kind of like, oh, it'd be nice to have him, but I doubt we'll get him. You know, he'll probably cost too much. And then we get him, and it was like, oh, okay. I think we're gonna make that kind of move on defense. And we're talking other than JJ Watt. I think Andrew Berry is gonna try to go out and get a splash guy who people don't really talk about. But is a guy who he can bring in. But as far as like positions of need, I don't even know if I told you this yet, but a guy who so where I work, this guy I have come in, I'll say it this way. I've talked to him. I've seen him like twice, and I've talked to him, and he works for the Columbus Crew, right?
Okay.
Now, the Columbus Crew is owned by, guess who?
Jimmy
Haslam. So we got to talking because first the Crew won the MLS championship or cup or whatever it's called. So, you know, we got talking about that. Obviously, I like sports. So, you know, I just got to talking with him. Well, anyway, come to find out, and I hope I'm not giving this away because I don't want people looking him up and trying to talk to him. But he works in the analytics department of the Columbus Crew, right?
Okay.
So he was talking to me because I had a Browns hat on at work. So obviously, you know, he Browns fan and whatnot. And he started talking to me about, you know, Jimmy Haslam owning the team and all that. Well, come to find out, he said that the Crew analytics department works hand in hand with the Browns analytics department sometimes, right?
Wow, that's interesting.
So, so here I am going, oh, shoot. Now, let's talk about this. So, anyway, so we got to talking about the draft. And, well, we talked about multiple things, but as far as the draft, he told me, and we've heard this before, but it kind of reinsures what we hear. He said, do not expect the Browns to draft a linebacker before the third round. What do you think about that?
Obviously, they have their eyes set on somebody that's kind of underrated that they think could go in a later round. I mean, I'm just wondering, I mean, what could we possibly take in the first round?
Well, and that's the thing.
Corner, safety.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really a question mark around that when you saying that.
And that's what I talked with him about because I was like, I figured that I did because we've heard that a lot that this defense doesn't value linebackers, which I disagree with. I got like 3 linebackers that I would love to get. But you know, we don't run the team. We just talk about the team. So
definitely
it is what it is. But
they don't pay us to pick players.
Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? Actually, I watched yesterday, draft day, and I tell you what, you ever think about how unrealistic that movie is?
Very.
The man turned. Think about this, right? Like I know we're getting off topic here, but still, think about this.
How do you get all your first round picks back?
The whole premise of the movie is about the draft and whatever. And the man starts off with the 7th pick in the draft, trades for the number 1 pick, and gives up 3 first-round picks. He gets the number 1 pick, and he uses the number 1 pick, picks a linebacker, whatever. And then trades 3 second-round picks for the number 6 pick. And then trades the number 6 pick for 3 first-round picks and a punt returner. So basically, when you write that out on paper,
sounds like Madden, man.
When you write that out on paper, he essentially traded for the number 1 pick for 3 second-round picks. Essentially. That is the most ridiculous thing I think I've ever heard.
Definitely.
But like you said, it is a classic, but whatever. But yeah, so anyway, back to the point of topic. Talking with him, he basically said what I've said about the defense, and I'm sure you've said it too. The defense is the Joe Woods style, is that 49ers, it's heavily focused on your front 4 guys and your secondary. So he said expect a edge rusher, interior defensive lineman, or a secondary player, corner, safety. So I'm just saying, Browns fans, I wouldn't get your hopes up for a linebacker because I think he's right. Unfortunately. But have you seen
if you, with that being said, that post I sent you earlier before the show, you're saying interior D line and edge rusher. I mean, Richardson possibly could get cut,
and he would clear up $12 million, which I don't know.
I don't think they're bringing. I doubt Ogunjobi comes back.
Yeah, that's the only way I think they would do that is if they could bring Ogunjobi back cheap, and then they draft somebody and then cut Richardson. That's the only way. But I think Richardson is so very valuable.
Yeah, definitely. And he a veteran in that defensive line room too.
Yeah, you're right. That's a undervalued thing with this team is we're so young, especially on defense. We need some vets, and he is one. So, I mean, if we could keep him, that would be great. But I don't know. I think the Browns, if I had to guess, I think the Browns, let's just say they signed JJ, right? Definitely. I think the Browns still could go edge at 26. Still. What do you think about that?
I wouldn't be opposed to it.
And you know why I say that, though? Because think about this. JJ can play inside as well. So if you sign JJ to a 2 or 3 year deal, right? And you draft let's say Osai, right? Okay. From Texas. If you draft him, I think I got the right guy there. I can see him in my head. His name. There's like the edge rushers this year. Their names are like so jacked up. Like Aziz Al-Jurari from Georgia. Like, I don't know. Anyway, but what I'm trying to say, you could hypothetically say, okay, let's have Myles Garrett. So your standard front would be Myles Garrett, Sheldon Richardson, Andrew Billings, or whoever. You can kind of pencil in whoever you want there. And then JJ, right? And Definitely. Then you could have packages where, let's just say, it's like 3rd and 14. You could have Myles Garrett with JJ Watt lined up next to him with Sheldon Richardson and Asai. I mean, think about that. You look at the Super Bowl this year, how valuable is pass rush? Like, I mean, that could be crazy. So that's why I don't think it's not a I think we still could very well go defensive end, you know?
I'm really still on that. What you just said about the linebacker situation.
Isn't it? I mean, it's kind of
It's
disappointing.
yeah, it's kind of crazy.
But it makes sense.
I mean, yeah. Or maybe they think
Especially
they can. Maybe they think they could add a splash linebacker free agency.
maybe. And you know what? I tell you what, Christian Kirksey, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility after now he's been injured again that he would come back for a cheaper deal, after seeing the Browns become
Yeah,
successful.
definitely.
So if you can bring him back for
A 1 year deal,
yeah.
something little.
Well, and not
To
only
at least
that,
have that experience out there.
yes, and that's another thing. I'm sure this season, even as well as the Packers did, I mean, he was tweeting about it all year, tweeting about Cleveland. Clearly, he kept his eyes on Cleveland, and I mean,
Definitely.
you watch the team you played for after sucking for so long, flip it around finally. I mean, come on, he's got to at least consider it, right?
Hey, why not?
But I don't know. I mean, but yeah, I think he's right. I think you're going to look at, and actually, I think the Browns could really play a 4-2-6 next year a lot. Or did I say that right? 4-2? No,
Yeah,
4-2-5, I think. Anyway, you
You
get
want
what I'm
you said
saying.
you wanted a 6? Yeah, I see. Yeah. Okay, yeah, no, I see what you're saying now.
Where you can only play 2 linebackers and you can have them extra DBs. That's why I think you look at a guy like Trey Boston, who's pretty versatile, released from Carolina. I think he's a guy who can come in and, you put out there with Delpit, Harrison, Denzel Ward, Greedy, hopefully, you know what I'm saying? And you can mix up
Yeah.
everything. Because that's the thing. I think a lot of people are ignoring. Delpit can play pretty much both. I mean, he could be a ball hawk free safety. He could come in and play inside the box. Like, people were saying he's a horrible tackler. Go watch the Clemson LSU game.
Please.
I mean, he made every tackle. So I disagree that he's, only a free, but I think that's what they're looking at. I think they're going to really focus on that D line and really focus about that secondary. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that as well. And another thing that I wouldn't be surprised about is if we bring a corner in free agency.
I'm sorry, I took a drink right as you said that. Yeah, the guy from the Steelers, shoot, I can't even remember his name right now.
Mike something.
Milton, right? Is that right?
Yeah, something
Milton,
like that.
28,
It was
I
M.
think.
It was M something.
Hold on, let me look it up. It's gonna bother me. Milton Steelers. Milton Steelers. Oh. Milton. Tim. What? That can't be right. I'm not seeing it. Did you find it yet?
Mike Hilton, that's his name. I
Oh,
knew it was like,
Hilton.
yeah.
Okay.
I knew it was Mike something.
I was gonna say Mike Milton. But yeah, I've seen him as people are talking about him.
Yeah, I've seen him a bunch. Patrick Peterson a little bit.
I would love that. I don't know about you.
Definitely.
But we'll see. There's also Sherman. Yeah.
I heard they weren't interested in Sherman anymore.
Oh, they're not?
Yeah, I heard it a couple weeks ago, but you never know.
Yeah, I didn't hear that. I'm glad you heard it. There's so much going on right now. It's hard to stay up with
Remember
everything, but
everything. Yeah, definitely.
yeah, I think they're gonna bring in a I think they're gonna bring in at least one or two more corners, probably one or two more safeties between the draft and free agency. Linebacker, I think they might. Honestly, I mean, think about this. Let's say they bring back BJ Goodson and they bring back Malcolm Smith on pretty decent cheap deals. They could re-sign Kirksey, or I'm sorry, not re-sign, but bring him
Bring him
back
back. Yep.
and then roll with Jacob Phillips in a bigger role. That could be your linebacking core,
And
along with Taki
I
and
actually,
Wilson.
I actually wouldn't mind bringing BJ Goodson back.
I think we should bring both back because I think we can bring them back cheap. How would you feel about Carl Joseph coming back?
I wouldn't mind Carl Joseph coming back. He played solid for the role he was put in. I mean,
Yeah,
you need guys. You need guys. You need rotational guys that can come in and play like that. So I wouldn't be opposed to bringing. I would be opposed to bringing back Carl Joseph.
yeah, I think he plays that role perfectly. I think if we bring him in as kind of a box safety, you know, play him up towards the line of scrimmage, you know what I mean? Send him on some
Yeah,
blitz
definitely.
because he is a hard hitter and he can tackle. I mean, he might not be the biggest, but he can play.
Yeah,
So I think if you like you said, put him in that role, build him or bring him back in that rotation, yeah, I would like him back. But yeah, have you
definitely.
seen Collins from Tulsa, that linebacker? Have you watched his tape
Yeah,
yet?
yeah. I've watched it.
He was mocked to us in Mel Kiper's latest mock draft, and he is man.
Dude's a wreck, man.
I wish, I really hope that. I mean, I get what he's saying about us not getting a linebacker, but I'm hoping that they at least have their eyes on a couple guys if they fall, because I've seen multiple different options at 26 between edge, Christian Barrymore, corner, but I don't know. What do you think about Tommy Togiai? Would you like to get him like late second or
I
third?
If he's there, take him. I definitely would.
Yeah, they talked about that on the OBR. They talked about the D tackles. They said I thought he was going to be a pretty early pick. They said,
They don't have him. They got him a little later.
yeah, they think he might fall to the third round. I'm thinking, shoot, if we can get him
Hey,
third round.
best player available.
Well, and not only that, he fits what we would need perfect. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that
Yeah,
can clog the middle. I mean, especially when you got Joe Burrow and Lamar in your division, you need people to get in guys' faces. But
yeah. And you got backs like Dobbins and Mixon and them coming at you.
well, and the Steelers probably gonna draft. I really hope that they don't get Najee Harris. Because to me, he just
Yeah,
looks
or
like a Steeler.
and a, and another one that people might be sleeping on, Travis Etienne.
Yeah, Etienne, I don't know. That's going to be interesting. Who goes first between them two? You know what I'm saying? Because Etienne is probably better overall, but I don't know. Because I mean, it's easy to say for the NFL game, Etienne or Najee would be better, but you look at guys like Alvin Kamara, you know what I'm saying, and Christian
Yeah, definitely.
McCaffrey. I mean, I don't know. That could be I don't
It's an
know, but
interesting situation with the draft this year, man.
well, and you got so many guys who opted out who are in the draft. It's like, well, are they going to want a guy who opted out, or are they going to want a guy who played and wasn't as good? So it's kind of a wait and see. Um, But yeah, I would just say, as to the fans, to Browns fans, don't get your hopes up on a linebacker, because I believe what he's saying.
Definitely.
But who knows? We'll see.